Hey, how's it going? And today I just wanted to do an educational tutorial on casting the Cast2 node. A long time ago in a land far, far away, I did a tutorial about this and it was very convoluted. And so I hope now it's a little bit more clear because I've come a little ways since then. So to start this, we're just going to go into the third person template and we're just going to go create. And I'm not going to say my previous project. And this is just utilizing a couple little things just to show you. So the Cast2 node, and it's everywhere. The Cast2 node, when I think of it primarily, what I think of it as is I think of it as a way to hook up one blueprint to another, form a line of communication, and then get variables and functions from one blueprint to another blueprint. So I think of it as a form of blueprint communication, direct blueprint communication. But also, because of the casting, there's a test function too, and it allows you to check and see if an actor or an element in your scene is of the same class. And so it's also a screening kind of node because it can perform a check. When you're doing just direct blueprint communication from one object reference to another, there is no check for anything. With casting, it's kind of checking to see. So I thought of a way we could do a really kind of simple test. And what we really need is we need two things that aren't the same. So we're going to run a test to see if the blueprint third person is the blueprint third person. And I know like we can test that very easily, but then we need something else to show you the other side that it's not a blueprint third person. And so I was trying to think of like how can I get two entities, two actors that are completely different. So one will pass the cast test, the other won't pass it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to right click and we're going to create a blueprint class, and this is just going to be an actor, and this is going to be kind of our screening tool. So this, it's called new blueprint here. I don't really like that name, so I'm going to rename this to BP casting test. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in here, and all this is going to be is we're going to get a cube, right, like this. And I'm going to pull out, and then we're just going to scale this up a little bit. Scale it up and out a little bit, almost like a plane a little bit. So we got a good sized little box here, just like that. And then we want to make sure it's movable. And then under its collision, we want to make sure that it overlaps all. So nothing, it won't block anything. And then this is where we'll write the code. So if let me clear this out here, and we go into the event graph, there's this on actor begin overlap. So if I pull off of here and I go cast to BP third person, this one here, you'll see we've got over here this pin that says other actor. So what we can do is if we put this in here, this will test to see if any other actor is actually an instance of the blueprint third person character. So with this hooked up, we can test to say, hey, is this a blueprint third person character? And if it is, then we can do this logic. If it's not, then the cast fails. So off of here, we can just do a simple print string. So let's do a print string, and we'll say something silly like, congratulations, you are a instance of a blueprint third person character. Let me close this window there. Okay, and then I can hit Control D, and we can, the cast fails, we can put it in here, and we can say in here, you, sir, are not a blueprint third person character. I know BP third persons, and you are not one. Okay, this is what the cast2 node does. Not only does it allow us to get information, we can get all the variables and functions that are within the Blueprint third person, but it has this checking function too, this testing function. So we'll just compile and save that. And then we'll drag this onto the scene like that board. Now, if I hit play, well, I come right into it, but let's say if I walk over here, you'll see, look, congratulations, you are an instance of a Blueprint third person. So now we can test that that's working, but how would I test this, that this isn't working? How do I get the cast to fail? So what we can do for that real fast is we can right click and let's go to a Blueprint class and let's create a pawn. And we'll just call this BP underscore pawn. Whoops, BP underscore pawn. And we'll just make this a sphere. So we'll go add sphere here. And I believe that's all we have to do here. We just have to make sure that it's movable. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then with this sphere, it's a pawn, it has no movement, but if you watch my other tutorials, you'll see that we can simulate physics on it. So then we can give it kind of some movement. So we're just going to position this sphere above that template. It's hard to see if it is there, so let me just go into top view here. Make sure, oh, see it's not. So make sure it's above that. Okay, and we'll go back into perspective. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the BP third person and we're going to just send a message. We're going to make that fall from the sky so it can interact with our BP casting test. So I'm just going to go keyboard, press 1, and then off of here I'm going to go get actor of class, and I want that BP pawn, so I'll go BP pawn, and now I've established connection with that blueprint here, and now I can drag off of here and go simulate physics, set simulate physics here, and let me drag this up here, check simulate, and just hook this up here. So now when I press 1, that pawn should drop from the sky. So let's test this again to see how this works. So I come in, I'm right in the middle of the thing, so it doesn't overlap. But now if I come over, because we're casting, it checks and says, yes, you are a BP third person. But that sphere up there is a pawn. It's not a Blueprint third person. So watch what happens if we hit 1. You are not a BP third person character. And so that's what casting does. It not only allows you Blueprint communication where you can get all the variables from one blueprint into another, but it also performs a check to see if that item is an element of the same class or an instance of that same class. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.